Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is David from Daveden Web Dev, and on this channel I like to talk about all things WordPress, especially about dynamic data and about accessibility. If you can see me, if you can hear me, please let me know in the comments, and if everything sounds well, we will kick off from there. While we are waiting to hear from your feedback, today's video is going to be about two things. So about dynamic shortcodes and about BricsForge. So I'm just going to be sharing my thoughts about some things I learned recently while doing some tests. So if it's beneficial to you, please do give a thumbs up so that I know that it helped you out. And yeah, that's it. So I'm just going to wait for a few minutes to see that everything is working, and we'll continue from there. So there is currently a poll going on. If you prefer to use ACF, Metabox, Jet Engine, or ACPT, please do leave your votes so that I know how to tailor my future tutorials. So I know if I'm going to do more of ACPT tutorials or Metabox or Jet Engine or ACF. So let me know in the comments. So yeah, let me go ahead and I'm now going to share my screen and we'll see some of the things that we'll be working on today. Or let me just bring out my notes. I think I wrote a short note somewhere. Okay, so the first thing we'll be doing is we'll start with BricsForge. So I'm just going to be showing you some new things that are coming to BricsForge or some things that are already there that you may have missed. So let me just go ahead and pull up the BricsForge changelog for the current version. Okay. All right, so I'll switch over to the changelog, and then we'll see some things that are there. Then we'll go on from there. Okay, hi, Dimitri. Thanks for joining in. Let me switch over my screen now to the screen share. Okay, so these are some things that have come out in BricsForge so far. So we have the API query builder. We have copy form field IDs with one click. I'm going to show you how this works because previously I didn't know how it worked and I haven't seen any video yet showing it, so we'll try it out together. Then there is this fallback. We're going to be testing out the fallback for variables as well as fallback for live variables. Then the other ones I may not touch them, but yeah. So we'll be looking at some of these while also testing out dynamic shortcodes. Then I'll switch over to Elementor a bit to look at that custom Metabox fields fields from custom Metabox tables and how you can use it in any page builder. So I'll use Elementor for that one. So now let's jump in. So with BricsForge, let me go over to, this is Brics. Okay, yes, this is the Brics website. Then let's go over to one of the pages I've created, so DSH, because we're working with dynamic shortcodes today. So DSH and BricsForge. Okay, so the one that they call copy field key from field IDs with one click is when you come over to your settings, when you hover over any of your elements, you will see this key icon. So that's all you have to click. Once you click it, it copies the key. So currently this is called email. So if I go under general, this is the key now. So that's the key. So now let's go ahead and paste the key somewhere and see if it works. So I'll open a basic text and I'll just paste that here. And you see the key was copied, which came from this copy key. So let's go to, let's say, the first one, text. Let me even rename it and see if that works. And say maybe this is the name. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and copy that key. Let's go to the text. And I'll go ahead and paste it. Okay, so I guess what you have to do, make sure is that you've saved it and reloaded the page before you can copy the key, because it will copy the old key if you don't reload the page. So let's reload the page. So once you've added all your keys, make sure you save and then reload the page. Then you can easily copy any of your keys. So if I go back here and copy this key, and then I go into my basic text and I paste, you can see now the key was copied, which is name. So this is very easy in case you are trying to use the key anywhere. So maybe in another form field like your calculation field, you can just easily copy the key from any of the BricsForge Proforms fields. You can copy the key. If it's a regular Bricks field, then you wouldn't see that. But one thing that I noticed, which will be updated in the documentation, is that this key will not show up unless you have a setting in your Bricks settings. And that setting is, let's go over to the Bricks settings. Let me see. My system is frozen. Okay. Then I'll go over to my Bricks settings, and I believe it's under Builder. Yes. So go to Builder. Make sure you have these two things active. At least one of them should be active under Element Actions. If both of them are toggled off, so let's go ahead and toggle them off and save. If you come back to the builder and refresh, let me just go ahead and save it first and refresh. You would notice that those options no longer show up, so you cannot actually copy any of the keys anymore. So make sure, if you want to be able to copy the key easily, make sure you've activated this under the brick settings. Activate them, so the duplicate and delete. Save it. And when you come back and refresh the page, you can now copy your keys from your form. So that's the first thing. Then the other thing we're going to be doing now is a question that was asked recently. So the question is how to update. So in this case, we're not creating a new, but we want to update a user meta field. So let's say we already have a user on the page and want to be able to update their user meta data. So like their first name, their last name, and some other things like that. So how do we do it? Using BricsForge Proforms. So for that, I have, let me see, I'm also going to add some meta fields. So let's say I have ACF here. I'll go under ACF, and I've created a, hi Lex, thanks for joining in. So I'm in ACF. I've created a user ACF extras, which is a custom field in ACF, and I've added this option called state. Then let me add another one as well. Hi Kim, or I think it's Kim, right? Thanks for joining in. So I've created one for state. Then let me create another meta field and say maybe that is, or should I use state or country? I just use state, so let's just use state. So basically the state is a select field for state, and then it just has some states within England. Please let me know in the comments if the sound is okay. Is it too low or is it okay? So we have the choices for the different states in England, or the, not states, sorry. They are more or less like cities in England. I should have called them cities. But yeah, let's just leave it like that. And I've set it to both array, okay? Then the other field is, I'm just going to use something simple like maybe phone number. And I'll just leave that as a text field. Okay. Then I've now assigned the location to be my user form, and then I said equal to all, so that I can now update it in the user's meta field. So let me go ahead and save it. And let's see. So I'll go over to my users and my profile. So I'll go to my profile for users. and I'll just add. So right now I've set the state to be London. The phone number, let's just give, this is a random phone number. Hopefully the owner of this phone number isn't upset, so let me just use something else before people start calling numbers that they don't know. Let's say 07812345678 I guess. 9, 10, 11, okay, no. So I guess something like this. And I've put, this one was coming from MetaBox, so you can ignore that. So these two are from ACF. Let me save it. Okay, so we have these two fields in our user. Now let's go ahead and see how we can update this user on the front end. So let's continue. I will show you some limitations first with BricsForge currently, and then how we're now able to like solve those limitations using either custom code or you use dynamic shortcodes. So let's continue. So I'll come under my form. Let me just go ahead and create a new form. So I'll delete the old one that's there, save and refresh. Make sure it's starting from blank. Okay, so now in my container, let me go ahead and I'll drop in a pro form. So within the pro form, I think the things we need to change are like maybe the first name. So I'll say the first one will be a text field for the first name. Then I'll duplicate that. This will be last name. Okay, I don't think I need to change the email. Let me delete that. Then what else? So first name, last name, maybe description. Those are the fields that come with the user meta. Then you can add the ACF fields as well. So those are two ACF fields. The first one is a select field. So I'll check for select. And then the other one is, let's see, was a text field here. So text for the phone number. Let me show it's out there. So this will be for my state. And the other one is for the phone number. Okay, so we got everything. Now let's go ahead and start populating them. So for my first name, I will just say this will be f_name. And what else? I'll give it the label of first name. Let me just zoom in for now so that it's easy to see. I'll zoom out later. The other thing I want to do is just on the pro form, I like to add some, increase the font size on my form fields. So I'll just use I believe I have something already. Pro form, okay, that's there. Just to make it a little bit bigger, I believe. Okay, let's go ahead and see what I did. Global styles and label. Let me just make it bigger a bit. Say maybe text L. Yeah, just to be big. Okay. So that is the first name. Under the first name, general, I've given it custom ID, F name, label, first name. Then we'll come back to the value later. Let's just continue with the other ones. The second one is the last name. So L_name. This will be the last name. And what else? Okay. Then the next one is description. So I'll just use something like DESC. This will be description. And yeah, that's it. So the next one is state. So the label will be state. And okay. Phone number. The label will be phone_number. And sorry, that's the custom ID is phone_number. The label is phone number. What did I put for the state? Okay, I haven't added the custom field, so I'll just use the custom ID should be state. So yeah, we are there at the first stage is done. We have our fields. Now, because I'm trying to update a user that is already there, what I'm going to do now is start trying to pull in the default fields. It's very easy. Come to your fields, and then we'll use the default because I'm updating the current user. It is not a user from another, like another ID, but I'm using the current user, so that's very easy. I don't even need to use any BricsForge dynamic data. I can use the native Bricks data. So the first one is the user first name, so I'll say first name. I like searching for all my fields, so you'll notice that I'm always searching because I feel it's easier. So last name, under the value, dynamic tags, I just search for last name. Then description. Let me see if it's there. Description. Okay, I believe they called it bio. Yeah, that's user description. Okay. Then this is where it might get funny. So let's go to the first one, which is the phone number. That should be easy. Let me see. Phone number. Okay. That's ACF phone number is being pulled in correctly. Then the state is a select field. Because there are multiple ways that you can achieve this, but there is a limitation because we're not trying to pull from a post, we're trying to pull from a user. The one way, if it was a post, all you have to do is just delete this option, then only leave the wrapper select field. Then you simply come under options and change the populate options from nestable to ACF array, and all you have to do is put the field name. So let me go to the ACF field. What did I call it? I called it let me see, it does. Oh yeah, I disabled, so I have to use the long root. ACF, and then field groups. I'll come under my ACF field extras, and then the states. So I'll copy the key, which is state, drop that in there. Then I also have to put the field key. To get the field key, you simply click on your screen options and field keys. Then I'll copy the key, and that is for the field key, and it should populate. Yeah, so you see it's populating all of the fields, which is good. Let me save it. Hello, Piero. I'm going to be showing some things like how you can use dynamic shortcodes in BricsForge, especially in their pro forms. Then I also use dynamic shortcodes in like meta to use it in Elementor as well. So I want to show the first limitation that we are going to have when using like BricsForge. For now, I think they will fix all of these problems later. So if I go to the front end, let's go to the front end. Let me preview it. You see, everything is being pulled in correctly. Oh, first name is okay. Oh, is that the name I put? I can't remember. Irishka. When did I put all these names? I can't remember. But then the state is, but you notice the state is bath because it's just picking the first element there. It's not actually picking the one from the current user. I'm trying to get what is the value from the current user. There's no way, but every other thing is being pulled in correctly. This is pulling in weird numbers. Let me go ahead and see what's happening. I think it's auto-filling with an address that I put for testing. Let me see if I can delete that address. Undo autofill. Manage addresses. Okay, so let's delete all of these, because I use them for testing a lot of times. Okay, so let's go back. Now that this is gone. Okay, so let's refresh and see if you still pull in those data. Okay, that means that is the data I saved for this user. So let's go ahead and see the user profile. I just go to profile, because I always open different InstaWP sites and I use different field. Okay, yeah, that's what I did. That's why it's showing those data, because I used. Okay. Oh, okay, that's why. Oh yeah, I used that name. I didn't even realize what name I was using, but yeah, now I know. Okay, so that's why it's pulling. So it's pulling the data correctly. It's pulling the first name, the last name, and the phone number. The problem now is the description is not there because I didn't put any description. So you see that's the info is empty. That's why it's empty here. The state is just pulling in the first state. It's supposed to be pulling in London, but this is pulling in Bath. So how can we solve this? Currently, within BricsForge, there is no way because as you can see, the only thing that is there is context, which is post ID. You cannot put the context as the user ID. It's just the post ID. And in this case, we're looking for the user ID. So for this, we now have another option we can do, which is using dynamic shortcodes. So we change the array. So instead of using ACF array, we can now switch over to dynamic data. And that's it. So I'll save this. And now we have to pull in this dynamic data. For that, we need to use something. So we can either use like your PHP function. You can use, if you have like MetaBox, you can use their twig to create a shortcode and all of that. But in this case, I'm using dynamic shortcodes. So I'll go over to my Power shortcode and we're going to create a new shortcode. And let me see, let me open so it's easy for me to see the fields. Okay, so we have the field here. So how we create it is, let me just give it a name. So I'll say maybe ACF options or ACF countries, state. Just a name that is easy to remember when you are pulling in the data. Then basically all you have to do is return a JSON encoded data. That is the base thing that we need here. So it's a JSON encoded data. Let me see if I can show you how the data is supposed to be returned. The data is just supposed to be returned as a square bracket like that. And then close with a square bracket. This is how the JSONs are. We'll edit it soon, but this is just how it's supposed to be. So label, then we'll put a colon, and then we'll put the value, a comma. That is the value of the label. So let me just say whatever the label is, the label. Then the next one is the value, colon, the value from your select field. And then whichever one is active, you now put this one active, colon, no, not colon, I think, yeah, colon for JSON encoded data. And then you just say true. So this is how the data is supposed to be returned if you are doing it manually. So your data has to be like this: square bracket, close it to the square, close it in square brackets. Then inside is curly braces. Put label, whatever the label is from your ACF field. You put value, whatever the value is from your ACF field. Active, true. So this is the basis of what we're going to be working with and converting this into dynamic shortcode notation. So I'll just keep this somewhere and then we'll start. So I'll start from the beginning. This is just like the control value of how it should look like. So I'll start from the beginning. And the first thing we need to do is, this is something that is unique to ACF. I'm trying to pull in the field key the same way we have with with BricsForge, where we had that ACF array. We just put in the key and then it populates all of the default select fields. So the same thing we'll do here. First, I'll start with, because it's going to be a loop that is looping through something, so I'll start with a for colon. So I'm going to create an array. Then let me give the placeholders. I need a placeholder for the key and the value. That means the label and the value. So I'll put, the first one is label and the second one is value. Those are two placeholders that I'll be getting from my ACF options. Then the next thing we'll do is, we'll now say the ACF field itself, ACF colon, the field name when I created the field was called state. So I'll copy that. Then the next thing we'll do is, let's see, I'll have to put, so this is ACF state. Then I need to make sure I'm getting it from the right point, which is from, let's see, at, then user, because I'm trying to get it from the user. Then what else? Let's see. We need to get, what do I do again? So after the user, then ACF state user, yeah, then we have to get the settings. Yes, I remember now. So we have to get the settings. So I'll say setting. This is unique to ACF. ACF uses setting. Metabox, they call their settings something else. I think all of them have different names that they call how you can get their default values. So in ACF, you call it setting, and the setting name is called choices. I believe I can find it here. If you right click and inspect, you see how they named it. So for all, it's a select field, and okay, no, I have to open it. I think that's how I got it. And then I think if you check into the choices, yeah, so the key for the setting name is called choices. So that's what I use, choices. And what else? Then I think we may have to put an ID. So the ID is current user. So I think it should work on its own. Then what else? Then let me just see if it works first without any of these. So let me cut this out and then just return key colon get key just to make sure it's working, or get value. At separator equal to comma. Let's make sure it's working. Save. Okay, so the name now is called ACF state. Let's see if that works. Let me use a short code widget. And I'll call it power ACF colon and dash state. Hopefully it works. So yeah, it's pulling in the data. So you can see it's pulling all of the states, Bath, Birmingham, everything. So that is working. So we can continue from there. That means we know that we are getting all of the options from the setting. So we are saying we want to get the ACF, the field name, then what query type is it? It is a user. That's the argument type, object type is the user. Then what are we trying to get? We're trying to get the setting in this case. So setting equal to what setting? There are multiple settings you can get from ACF. You can get the default value. You can get if it's an array kind of field, you can get choices. You can get some other field like the label as well. You can get the label and other things like that. So I've gotten these. The next thing I need to do now is continue, and I need to now return it in this array format, which is this JSON array kind of format. So instead of this key value pair like this, I'll delete that, and I need to return it as a JSON array. So for that, all we have to do is, I hope you all are not lost yet. You're following it. I'll try to write a more simplified documentation, and hopefully the Dynamic Shortcodes team will also have some documentation to make it easy for you to use all of these. So the thing we're going to be doing now is we want to pull the shortcode. So I'll put the square brackets. Okay, and the first thing is we'll now put that. Basically, we're trying to get this curly brace. So I'll do that. Open and close it. And the next thing is, first thing we're trying to get is the label. So I'll say label colon, exactly as it is here. Now the value itself is going to be get our placeholder here. So we'll now replace, because this value is supposed to be the value that comes from ACF. So I'm going to replace that with just get value. And the only thing that we have to add here is JSON encode, just so that it encodes that value in a JSON format. Otherwise, sometimes with all of those spaces and everything, it might break. So just say JSON encode. Then the other one is value colon, same thing, get value. Oh no, the first one was get label, sorry. And the second one is get value, pipe symbol, and say I want to return it as a JSON encoded format, JSON encode. Don't forget the comma. And that should do it. So let's make sure I delete this out. So let's see if it works. Come back to my field, save it, and preview on the front end. So as you can see, we're now returning it as label colon bath value colon bath, because basically the label and the value are the same. So it's working. The only thing left now are two things. Number one, we have to put the outer square bracket, and we have to now put a conditional logic that shows only when the current user's meta field is equal to the settings field. So if the current user is, the meta field returns as London, then add an option that is called active. So that's the only two things we need to do now. So I'll come back to my dynamic shortcode and let's add a square bracket. So I'll just go before all of the query, put a square bracket at the top and a square bracket at the bottom. That's it. The first thing is done. In fact, let me even show you that it's working. I'll save this. And this time I'll now put this data into my select field. So into the state, into the dynamic data, and then paste that in. I can delete this. Save. And we see we get back to where we were before, I think. What just happened? What broke? Something broke. Let's see. Shortcode. Power state, okay. We're getting all of the fields. Bath, okay. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to add the commas. So the commas after all of the elements, that's why it's not working. So let's go back to the dynamic, because basically after each query, after each of these elements, it should have a comma. So a comma after the element. Right now it's just having a space. So we have to come down to the bottom of the function. Okay, so just before the closing, no, after the closing square bracket. So this is the template. This is our template here. So after the template, I want to see after the template has run, then add a comma. So I'll say at separator equal to comma before we now close it. Yeah. Let's see now if it works. Save and refresh. Yep, now it's working. So we're getting our values back. So it's the same thing as what we had already with the BricsForge, but now with the added benefit that now we can now do a conditional logic to add active only when the current user has the same meta field as what we are in the options. So I'll come back to my dynamic shortcodes, and the final thing I'll do is that I'll now come after this value. I'll put a space, and then I'll now add some conditional logic. So the conditional logic is that if the user country, no, state, sorry. So if the user, or if I use, let me use the ACF field, ACF state at user, either one should work. So if the state value is coming from the user, then if that value is equal to, so I'll use the equal to condition. So if this value is equal to the current value, so I'll say get value, So if the current user's state meta field is equal to the current value from the loop, then do something. So then add this option, which is, square brackets. I want to add the extra option of comma, active, colon, and then true. Otherwise, so this is data. Otherwise, just return nothing. So I think that should work. Yes. Okay. So now let's save it. And I think that is all. So if I refresh, you see now it's pulling in the correct state, which is London. So everything now is correct. So we're pulling in the first name, last name, description, state, and then phone number. So that's it. So now we can do the final step, which is we need to now update this, be able to update the post. So how can we update it? So come to our pro form and we'll go over to actions and then we choose the update user meta. Now let's go ahead and see what are the options. So under update user meta now, because once you've chosen this action here, it will create an option called the update user meta. So you can toggle that on and we choose the source should be ACF, the user metadata, add item, and then we can start adding the user metadata. The first one we want to add is the user ID. But now, with the way forms work, the best thing to do is create a hidden field for your user ID. So I'll come back to my form, add a hidden field, and this hidden field, all you just do is, I'm just going to call it my user ID, and the value will just be the current user's ID. So user ID, user profile, user ID, save it, refresh, make sure we're getting the latest data. So now all of the data are populated correctly. The ID is 1. So now let me go to the pro forms again, and now we can start updating the post meta. So I'll say update user meta. I've chosen ACF because that's what we're using. So the user ID is the hidden field. The meta key is, the first one is first name. That's one thing I like about dynamic shortcodes. It gives you all of the meta field names. So I'll just go over to demo shortcodes so you can see it yourself. Let me close all of the other ones. I don't know why my system is slow today. So if I go under user, you can see exactly how the meta fields are returned. So we have, if you want to update the first name, it's called first underscore name. The last name, the actual key in the database is called last underscore name. Description is called description, and so on. So you can now come over here to like reference the actual meta field name and use it there. That is one nice thing about dynamic shortcode. So the first one is the first name. So first underscore name. The meta value is my form field value. So choose the fx and then I'll say fname. I want to update or replace data. Then I can now start duplicating it. Second one, the same, my user ID. This time is the last name. And the form field is L underscore name. Okay, replace data, yes. The next one is, in fact, I can just copy the key from here as well. So that is another nice thing. The next one is, let me delete this and duplicate instead. So I've gotten the first name, last name. Now is the description. And the description is called description. Copy that key, paste it here. The value is DESC. And then I can replace data, okay. And then the last one is, okay, the phone number and the state. So let me duplicate. And I want to get the phone number. The phone number was that one you can get it either from your ACF field key, or you can get it from Dynamic Shortcodes as well. It's called phone number, which is down here, phone underscore number. Paste that here, and then I'll replace the meta value. Is phone number, and then the last one is my state. So let's duplicate. And one nice thing again you can use dynamic shortcodes for is that it helps you to know exactly how the field is returned. Is it returned as an array or a single value? So you can know what to do. Because if it's an array, then in dynamic shortcodes, you have to, in your Brixforge, you have to use the colon array for your field key. But in this case, it is a value. You can see state, it is just returning a value, not an array. So we don't need to do any kind of array manipulation. So all I've got to do is say the fifth one, this phone number, the fifth one is going to be called, I don't know why it's not, let me close this and then I'll do it again. Then the key for that is country. Oh no, not state, I mean. And the value is, let's delete this. Choose the FX. Once everything loads, choose the FX, and then I'll choose state. And basically that's it. I don't think we have any other thing to do. The only other thing we may want to do is after the meta field has been updated, we may want to refresh the form to make sure that we're getting the correct data. So I'll put the reload. So that's page reload. So after updating the user meta, then reload the page. Let's save this and see if everything we've done works. Refresh. So we have first name, last name, description. So let's go over. First name is maybe this time David. Last name, Daveden. Description, a content creator and web designer. Okay. State, let's say this time is Liverpool. And the phone number, I'll just say maybe 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then submit. Let's see if it works. Yep. Refreshed. The page has refreshed and you can see first name, David, last name, Daveden, description, works, state. Okay, the state didn't update and the phone number didn't update. Okay, so let's see what happened. Let's go back to the form and let's refresh this and see if it updated. Okay, so it didn't update the ACF fields, but I know when I was doing it with MetaBox, it updated. I don't know why ACF is not updating. Did I make any mistake? Because I mostly use MetaBox. So when I was doing my tests, I did everything with MetaBox and everything worked perfectly. So update user meta. It's called states. Replace value, yes. Meta key and everything. Yeah, my user ID, phone number, and all of that. That should have updated everything. Maybe there is some limitations with ACF. We'll try it again. Or let me just say default and leave it at default and see. Update. And I'll refresh again. Let's see if everything is in order. Okay, so let's try again. So at least we know the default user meta is updating. So let's see if why that didn't update. So Lincoln and 0. Update. Okay, so there is something. Let me just try with MetaBox and see if MetaBox is, if it's just me or. So for MetaBox, what is it? MetaBox, I believe I created a custom field for MetaBox as well. User extras. This is why you should always test before actually going live, because I was just testing with ACF, with MetaBox, and everything was working. So I believe everything was working for all of them. So this one too is country. This is going to be a long. So instead of boring you, I'm just going to copy, because this, let me just add another field, text, and just say test 1 2, test 1 2, update it, and I'll go to my users, profile, and then I'll say Josh. Save. Okay, test 1 2. Okay, let's come to the form, and I'll just put another text field. And yeah, let's see. So test 1 2, test 1 2. No, sorry, it is text, I believe. Meta box. No, this is for post. Why is it not pulling in the data? Data was test 1 2. Yeah. What did I do wrong? Update. Oh yeah, I've not refreshed the page. Sorry. I need to save and then refresh this page. So under text, test 1 2, test 1 2. The value is test 1 2. Okay. Then I'll go to Proforms, update user meta, go to the last one. Let's just duplicate current field, my user ID. Okay, state. No, this will be test 1 2. The value is test 1 2. Okay, so then let's see if this works. Save it and refresh. Okay, Josh. So let me see, Jonathan. Oh, it's not updating. I must have been dreaming because I literally tested it this morning. That's why I had that meta box field there, and it looked like it worked, and now it doesn't work for some weird reason. So let's try meta box. Oh, actions. Let me see, update user. Okay, so I have to investigate this more. User ID is the my user ID. Okay, and so I guess it's like someone mentioned in the Facebook community that it doesn't work as expected. I literally thought it worked. Refresh and then try again. Okay, so my bad. I got it wrong. It doesn't update user meta. So I guess, like he said, we'll have to use PHP action for the update user meta data. Or can anybody confirm? Does it work for you? Because I think I thought it worked on the other page that I did it. So let's see if I can find that page. I believe it's called. Yeah, I did that. I selected MetaBox as the source, and it still didn't update. So update user meta. Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay. All right, save and refresh. Now let's try again, Jonathan. Oh, for some reason it is not pulling the data well. So this is that. This is meta key, meta value, update type, replace value. Let me try it on. Let me just do a random test on my other, if I can get it. Let's see. Do I have it anywhere? Let me see my. I don't know if I. Let's see. Okay, so pages. Did I save it? Was it here? Can't remember now. View. I think it was here, yeah. So let's see, country. Refresh. Was it on this one? I'm not sure. Okay, I guess it doesn't. I'm guessing it's not working. Yeah, cause I'm thinking it. Yeah, probably it's not working. Cause this is still showing. Yeah, I guess I'll have to. Sorry for not doing a proper test before time, but I guess something is not. It's not. I guess the update user meta has issues with updating meta fields. I may have been dreaming this morning when I was testing, but yeah. So that is that for the first one. The other thing is if you are using MetaBox. So now we are done with ACF. So I'll have to investigate about why it's not working for me to when I'm using the source update user meta. It's not updating the user's metadata because I chose MetaBox. I chose ACF and it's not updating. So the next thing I would test out is the ACPT. I think, yeah, ACPT. I'm going to be testing out if the repeater field, because I remember somebody asked a question about the ACPT repeater field and if it's working or not. So I will test it out. Let me see if I can. While we're doing that, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you, Danielle, for joining in. Sorry I didn't do proper test, but yeah, if anybody has any simple question that you want me to answer while we're here, please let me know and we'll continue from there. Before that, let me show you some other cool things that have been added in BricsForge. One of it is those fallbacks and the live data. So let me show you what I mean. So let's say, imagine you had a form. Let's create a new form. So I'll create a new section and add a new form. So imagine, let's just say this is a test underscore text, okay, and test underscore email and test underscore text area. I think there were a few questions that some people have been asking for, which he has actually added in Dynamic Shortcode in BricsForge, which you may not even be aware of. So the first one is adding fallback. So let's say you have this data, you want to be able to add a fallback value. So say you have like you want to get, oh no, let me use something like the live data first. So let's say you have the text field and you want to be able to pull the data from the text field into something else. So all you have to do is you come under that field. So let's say let me refresh it to be sure. So say you have two fields, maybe one on a separate step, another one in a separate step, and you want, when the user fills the data in one step, to show up in the second step. All you have to do is just copy the key, go to email or the one you want to replace, and then under value, in the curly braces, place that value. Basically, you can use live value anywhere. So let me save this. And when we go to the front end, watch what happens. If I go to my form and I start typing my name, David, automatically the name David will be getting automatically filled into the email. Then the other thing you can do is, if you don't want to put the data itself, you want to get the label, it's very easy as well. So in this, your email, your live data, live value, you just put at label. That's the key argument, at label. Go ahead and refresh. and wait, no. I believe, what did I do? Oh yeah, sorry. You just one curly brace, save. Wait, test. Oh, okay. Where did I add an extra? I'm doing something wrong. Okay, sorry. Let me be sure I'm on the right setting. Okay. Go to the front end. Let me just check something. 1 minute. My preparation today has been off, but yeah, I guess that's how live streams work. Sometimes you prepare for something and it doesn't work the way you expect. So I'm just trying to check something on my screen before I switch back. So like I said, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. We can go ahead and check them. So under the plugin and okay, yeah, done now. Okay, so let's try again. So refresh. Then let me switch back. Well, let me see. This is that. Okay. Let me switch over. Okay, so the other things I was trying to test are, let me see if I can get to the changelog and look at it. Okay, the text area, and see there is a new option now in text area called max length in characters, and you can use that as a dynamic data somewhere else as well. So let me see. Let me just make sure I'm reading it right. Okay. So you can also show the character count if you want to show it in the field. So let's see if it works. So let's say the max character is, you have, okay, that's that. Let's make sure, where's the, no, I don't want the count. I want the general, and I want to just show a count. So the count is, let's say 25 character, or 20, yeah, 25 characters. I'll save that. And let's go to the front end. You see that now, you see we have 25 characters left. So as you type, so David is a, you can see the character is going down as we type. So a space is a character, every letter is a character. And then the moment I get to 0, I cannot type anything anymore. So whenever I type, nothing is going in. So if you have like your form, you're trying to limit the characters, you can just use this character count, and then you limit it, and you can set exactly what is written here in the dynamic data. So when you come under there, max character length, you can use that dynamic data there. So this is the remaining characters. Maximum length is the max length. Current length is the current. So all of these, you can use the variables current, remaining, and max length to display the current and maximum length of the text area. And you can style it however you want. So that is another new thing that has been added to BreakSforge. Then the other thing we can add is we can now get the label as well of your form field. Let's see. Okay, so let's now try it. Let's see if it works. Let me go ahead and add maybe let's just use something that is already here. So let's say this select field. Let's say I don't want to get the value of the select field. Let me see if it works. I want to get the name of the select field. So that is the state. So I'll come under my text and let's go ahead and delete this and say this time I want to copy the key from the state. No. Yeah. Put the curly brace, paste it there, at label, and close it. Save, and let's see if it works. Let's go to the front end. Oh, it didn't work. Did I make any mistake? Hi Jimmy, thanks for joining in. Did I make a mistake? I think it's supposed to work now with, basically we're supposed to be able to pull in the label of your live variables. So not just the field key, but the label itself. But it didn't work yet. What did I do wrong? I chose from my state. The key is called state at label, right? Yeah, that should be it. I must have made a mistake, so let me zoom in a little bit so that I can make sure. Yeah, state at label, or do I have to remove the space? Add space? No. Yeah, Jimmy, I decided that I should mix it up, so dynamic shortcodes as well as proforms at the same time. And I don't know what I just did wrong now. It is not pulling in the value. State, or let me use it in a text field. I think you also use it in, right? Text fields. Yeah, that's what exactly what I know. I tested it literally and it. So let's see. State at label. Save. Refresh. Oh yeah. Okay. So it works in the text field, not in the form fields. It worked. So the live value, you can use it. That's one nice thing about BricsForge, that you can use the live value anywhere. I guess you can use it. This is basically in a text field, in a regular text field. And let's see. Let's put it somewhere else. Save. And see if it works in another form. Okay, so it has to be in the form, but it's only working in the text field, in the form. Okay, yeah, so it's working inside a text field, but not in a form field. So I guess something is missing. Let me try it in, which other field am I going to try it in? Let me see if I try it in a text area field. Let's see if one of them works at least. So I'm guessing it works in a basic text field. Then what about the max length and everything? Do they work in extra? Because I didn't watch the video on Facebook today. So those max length, can we use it outside of the field, or it has to be in the field? Like for your text area. So when I go to text area, this text area, and can I use those dynamic data anywhere else? Let's see. Remaining. Let's see if let me just for fun, let's try it. Value remaining, or in a basic text field. Or is it only bound to that field? Let's see. Okay, no, it's bound to, okay, it's only bound to the form field, right? Okay, so I get it. So I was thinking I could just use the remaining character value inside another field just to see if it works. Okay, so yeah. So that's one thing that's going to be added, that we'll be able to use this text, the label on, so from any form field. So let's say in this form, we're having any form field, we're able to use it, they extract not just the live value, but also the label. And in case maybe you have like your form things that you're trying to do, it will be nice to use all of them. So yeah, so that's something. So the other more complicated one that I don't know if I should do it now is MetaBox as well, because not just ACF, MetaBox also allows you to pull their settings data. So you can pull settings data from MetaBox, and I was researching it somewhere here. This is their documentation. I like the way all of them have documentation, like BricsForge, MetaBox, Dynamic Shortcodes. They all have their documentation that makes it easy for you to just go and reference and can do things with it. So the first one is this get field settings. This allows you to pull in the same way I did with ACF, where you can pull in data from like your choices. You can pull in the ID, the key, and everything. You can use this function as well called the rwmb underscore get settings field settings, which I will just test out now. First, I'll show you the complicated one that I did, and then we'll do something simpler. So let's see with MetaBox. Let me go and just close all of these fields. I don't know why I opened so many. So imagine I have MetaBox and I've added some custom fields. And the custom field is, okay, no, first we'll start with getting field from a custom MetaBox table. I think that should be easier to do first. So let me go ahead and add a new field group. And I'll say this is for maybe my pages. And I'll add a new field called, no, let me first go to settings. And I would say the post type is going to be page. Okay. Then I will activate this save data in a custom table. Or this will be better to show in Elementor, because I think in Breaks you can always use functions. I just want to show you the power of dynamic shortcodes. So let me do it in Elementor. This is an Elementor website now, and I'm going to use MetaBox as well. I hope I have it installed here. Oh boy. Another fail. There is no, let me see. MetaBox. No, it's not. Okay, it's just not activated. Then refresh. So MetaBox. Okay, yeah, I have MetaBox. Good. I was having a bad feeling that I'll have to start installing and everything. So let me go ahead. This is in Elementor. So I'm going to add a new field group just to show you how you can pull data from custom tables within MetaBox into any page builder or anything using dynamic shortcodes. So I'll create one for my posts, or maybe for user. Let me just do for posts. So I'm just going to say post custom table and go ahead to settings. Post type, I'll leave it at post. Then I will add custom table, yes, and create table automatically, yes. The table name should be maybe just WP custom David, just so it's easy to remember. WP custom David. And then I'll add a field, just a simple text field. And the text will be name. Why didn't you update? Okay, publish. Okay, so I'll go to my posts and let me go ahead and open this special dummy order. Over here now I can see this post table name. I'll just say David, publish. And normally, if it was a regular field, all I have to do is just say MetaBox, and then I'll reference that name of that field, which is name. But if I try that now, because I'm using it in a custom database table, dynamic shortcodes will not be able to pull that data. So basically everything will be blank. Let me just make sure I add a regular text field to show that everything's working. So this is David testing custom save. Now, why is it slow? Okay, and then let me just say I want to also pull in the post title just to show that the dynamic shortcodes is working. This is terribly slow. Why? Refresh. Okay, so you see the title is working, a special order, the text is working, but I can't pull data from my meta field. The meta box field is there, but I cannot pull data from it. I can pull data from this jet engine field, which I'll use jet for. So say jet colon and then the field name, and it's a date field, so I might have to edit it a bit. So I'll say date colon and then save it, refresh. So you see the jet engine meta field is working, post title is working. The only thing is the custom meta box table is not working, and that's because it is in a custom database table. But thankfully we can now use this whole field here to pull in the data. So all we have to do is we'll say it is, was it the name? Okay, yeah, this is exactly how we have to write it. So we have to just say rwmb underscore the value, or maybe get value, whichever one, and then we'll put this option. So let me just copy this. Unfortunately, with Elementor, you can't, there's no way to actually use like PHP, which is one of the powerful things about dynamic shortcodes, that you can use your PHP function anywhere. So even in your regular post, you don't have to create like a shortcode. You can use it anywhere. You can use it in so many different page builders and all of that. So let's go over to dynamic shortcodes and power shortcode. Then I'll just go to the bottom, and this time I'll say maybe mb-custom, and then I'll paste that in there. So this is how the function name, this is the function name, these are the function arguments. The way we now have to do it in dynamic shortcodes is we'll do something different. Hi, Aina, I think. Please, one day you have to tell me how to pronounce your name. And then, hi, Toby. Thanks for joining in. So yeah, I'm just going through all of them. I'm using dynamic shortcodes now in Elementor. So with Elementor and dynamic shortcodes and functions, the way you do this is that you use the call function. It's almost the same way like if you are a Bricks user, you use echo. So you say echo and then the function. In dynamic shortcodes, you use call and then the function name. The only thing that you have to now start changing some things. So anywhere you see this, the opening of the bracket, you just remove that. You don't need it. Remove all of these fields. So you don't really need that. Any comma and the opening and closing brackets, you remove them. So I remove so I just go to be replacing commas with spaces. Then when you see this square bracket, it means it's an array. So you replace that square bracket with the word array. So I'll open the curly brace, say array, colon. Let me zoom in a little, just so some people can see. So I'm saying array, colon, and you replace this, this equal to and greater than sign with just a simple equal to. And because it's a key value pair, you use the @ symbol. So that's just the difference. So this is how you are. Let me just put that so that we can see, compare them together as we go along. So that's under meta box. I'll copy this again, just so we can see exactly what is going on. So first we do call colon, and then we put the function name, which is rwmb underscore the underscore value. Let me just use get value. That will not do an error. Then, so I'm getting the value. Then this is the function name. Then you put a space instead of this opening of the regular bracket. You put a space, and then you put all of the arguments. So the first argument is price, so I put this price. The second argument is in an array. We put the word array in a starting with a curly brace colon. Then, because this is a key value pair, so you have to put the @ symbol, then put the key equal to storage underscore type, and then is equal to table. Then, okay, this is one of the problems of zooming in too much. This indent, I think there should be a way to, let me just bring it down a bit. Okay, yes, so I can zoom in again. Okay, so the storage is custom table, and then we need to remove the, so I said any comma, you have to take it out and just leave it as space. We don't need this quotation mark because that's the key. So the next key is table, and the value is, instead of properties, we can now do something unique, which is different from some other ones. You can now either make this a dynamic data again. So let me remove this square bracket and replace it with the curly bracket. And this is now the custom table name. For now, I'll just put a static value, which was that name was wp underscore custom underscore David. And this is the post ID. So I can say, I can leave it blank, or yeah, I can just leave it blank for now. I'll replace it later. So this is how this is the replication of this. If I want to put the ID itself, I can just say post colon ID to get the current post ID, but I think by default it gets the current post ID. So we have call, function name, and all of the variables after that. Then I can delete this. Let's see if it works. Let's go ahead and test it. So the function, the value name was the name of the key was just name. So I have to replace that with name. First, I'll start with static values. Then I'll replace it with dynamic values. So this is the static value right now. The key is name. And then we have this argument. And then we have our post ID at the end if you want to add that. So let's see if it works. So save. Did I miss anything? Because sometimes my eyes are not okay. Let me just put them in new line so I can see exactly what I did. This is the array. And okay, storage equal to this, table equal to that. Have I used it anywhere else? The syntax, there's an error in the syntax. Okay, that means I didn't close something. That's why I used a regular bracket instead of a curly bracket. That's why it didn't work. Then let's see now if it works. Okay, so yes, these are now regular brackets. So sometimes that might be a problem when you open the curly brace and then I closed it with a regular bracket. Oh, what else? There's a syntax error in the shortcode. Why is it annoying now? This is the function name, then the key argument. So this is key, array, that. Let's just put storage type, yeah, and then the table, yeah. It should stop messing with me. It's still messing with me. There must be some weird call, yeah, the function name, then the, okay, let me just, okay, this is not a, okay, let's see, name, and then the array, close the array, we don't need any commas here, key value, yes, save. There was a problem. Have I used that name somewhere else? No. Nothing else is there. What could be the problem? Oh, this loves to happen to me at the wrong time. Storage table, function name, and save. Okay, let's just there are errors. Okay. Something has to bail me out here. Whenever I'm doing it on my own, it works so smoothly, like nothing goes wrong. But whenever I decide to do it online, then something decides to go wrong. Let's go over to, let's see. This is under BricsForge. Yeah, but AI doesn't understand dynamic shortcodes, unfortunately. There's only, so it will still give me errors. So I have to do it myself. So dynamic shortcodes, let me see the one I did before. Let's leave this. And I'll go over to something, yeah, same thing, call rmwb, rmpw. This was the more complex one I did. But yeah, everything should technically work. Well, yeah, let me just, no, I need to do the simple one before I start thinking of a more complex one. Just refresh and try again. So mb-custom, save, error. So I'll just start with something simple, so I'll know exactly where the error is coming from. I'll remove, just put the name first, save. Okay, so that one is working. So it has to do with the array. Something is wrong with my array. This is array. Array colon, then at storage type equal to custom table and table equal to that. Okay, let's see. And then there's an error again. Okay, let's remove this. Array key value pair, the key. So it has to do with the array. But the array is the same thing I used there. I don't understand. Same. Oh, so that means something went wrong while I was typing. There was there was an invisible error somewhere, because it's the same thing. Array column at the key equal to the value, key equal to the value, key equal to the value, and now it's working somehow. But anyway, I'm glad it works. So I'll just put the type equal to, if I didn't define what I just did here is basically I'm saying I want to be able to dynamically pull all of this data. So rather than it doing from the shortcode, I want to be able to write this in my in the front end, basically adding key arguments that we can pull in the front end. Key args. The first one will be field. So that's the field. Then what the table name, and then the object type, if it's going to be a post, a user, or a meta, or something like that. So save it. And now it's working. Okay, so let's go back to the post. First, I'll copy the shortcode name. Then I'll go back to my post. Let me make sure it is zoomed back to normal. To my posts. And a special dummy order. And this time, rather than using this meta box name, I'll use that shortcode, power, mb, custom. Then I'll start putting the key arguments. So the first one is the field, is the name. The table is equal to wp custom David, and the type is equal to post. I believe everything should work now. Yep, and you see the name there is David. If I change it to anything, to Jonathan, save it, and I refresh, Jonathan. So that is how you can pull in. So it is not that difficult to put data from a custom like table The same thing with, I think, with, you just have to find the correct function, and then you can convert it until we get the official method from dynamic shortcodes. For now, you just have to, you either use the, like, MetaBox already gives you that twig views. So if you want to use MetaBox directly natively, you can use the MetaBox twig function, and then you generate a shortcode. But that will only work where you're allowed to add shortcodes. But then with this one, you can use the dynamic shortcode anywhere. And yeah, that's it. So let me show you one nice thing. So you can even use the shortcode. Why I say I like dynamic shortcodes, let's say I'm in a post, and let's say this post is called test. Within this post, literally almost anything in this post, you can use dynamic data there. So let's say I'm using like even grain shift. Let's say I'm using an elements block in grain shift. Within the content area here, I can still put that function. So power mb content at field equal to name table equal to wp underscore custom underscore table David, and then I don't need to add the type, but let me just say type equal to post. Then save this as, where's the name, Toby. Publish it, and then view the post. You see it's there. You can use it in almost any like block plugin. So even if you don't have, let's say you don't have the pro version of grain shift blocks, you can impute dynamic data into any part of the grain shift blocks and it will work. You can put the dynamic data, let me see, somewhere else. Let me edit the post. So even when you're using like build areas, you're using bricks, you're using Elementor, you're using oxygen, you use the same, basically the same shortcode notation, and it works. So come here. First I've put it here. I can even put it in, let's say, that's how nice it is. You can even put it inside dynamic attributes. You can put it in, even when you're creating classes. I did that once. You can go into your classes, custom attributes, and say maybe test first, add. So this attribute here, you can still put the dynamic data there. So post ID, save it, go on the front end. Sorry, I didn't put any actual content. Oh yeah, it's the same content. So in this Toby, inspect, you'd see, where is it? It was removed. Oh yeah, so basically as it test equal to the ID of the post. So you can use dynamic shortcodes literally anywhere. And that's how I've been, because I've been using the, green shift for a very long time now, until I got the pro version. Before I was using the free version, and I'm just using dynamic shortcodes in the classes, in the attributes, in different parts, and it was working. The only thing is that in the builder, it doesn't work well, but when you go on the front end, you can see it, and it works. So that is, so basically those are the two things I just wanted to show, that you can now use custom database tables of MetaBox using dynamic shortcodes, and it will work whether you're in Elementor, you are in Gutenberg, you are in BricsForge, you are in Bricks, anywhere it works. So yeah, let me go back to Bricks, and I will continue testing out some of the new features that came out in BricsForge. And if you have any questions, like I said, don't forget, leave it in the comments. And that's it. Yeah, so let me switch back. Yeah, so I'm back in BricsForge. So we're testing all of the fields that came out. Yeah. Oh, the field in green shift. Well, I don't have any thing added in green shift at the moment. Let me see. Do I have any content there? For that one, I think it will have to be a dedicated video or live stream, because I don't have any. Let's see. Let's go to a page. Do I have posts here? So I have 4 posts. Let me delete this. Okay, so let me go to a page, and let's see, grain shift test, and let's see, I'll create an element. Within the element, no, I have to add a section first. But since I'm working in Elementor, I don't know. It's been a while. I've used anything inside Elementor as a block plugin in Elementor. Okay. Then in here, I'll have to add a query block. Okay, so it's querying the posts, and let me now add the filter. So let's see, let's search for filter. So we have the filter panel. Then there I can choose what I want. So I want to filter by choose the taxonomy, maybe by categories. Then okay, design type should be checkbox. No, okay, yeah, let me use checkbox. What else? Any other thing? I think that's it. So how do we normally connect it now? I think we just add the query loop into the filter block, right? Or something. I'm beginning to forget. Okay, let's see. Let me go to the front end. View page. Does it automatically work? No. So how do we normally come? Yeah, next time, okay, don't waste time on it. Okay, yeah, next time. All right. So yeah, I'll do it next time. So basically, any other question that you have? Any simple questions? So while we're here, we're still looking at the pro forms and dynamic shortcodes. So I was able to use that same one of these functions here. What's it called? It was called the not RMB meta, RMB get field settings. I used this to also populate data. So let me show you the data I was able to populate. What did I call it? It was called Brixforge MB settings. Was that the one I just used now? Yeah. Okay, no, this is for MetaBox. So I used this function and I was able to populate another form field because I think the pages. Let's go to MetaBox. I created some custom fields for my posts, which I called countries. So when you go to like my user profile, and because the first two were from ACF, the bottom two were from MetaBox, and you see the same thing. I have a select field in MetaBox, and I want to be able to populate this select field into Breakdance Proforms and basically have the country selected. So that's how I created that same function there, and all I had to do is just come to my form. Which of them is it? Yeah, I think this is the form. Okay, and I'll just add another select field. Delete the option. In the select, I'll change the option to dynamic data, and then I'll just paste that BRF MB settings. And what are the keys I had to put? Let me do the power shortcode. So the keys I had to use were the field, the table, and the type, similar to the other one. So I'll say at field was equal to country. I don't need table, and then the type equal to user. I hope it works. Let's preview on the front end. Let's see the countries. Yeah, so you see the countries were populated and the United Kingdom was selected. So whether you're using ACF, you're using MetaBox, or no, whether you're using ACF, MetaBox, or Jet Engine, all three of them, they give you a way to pull in the default values from your meta field. So from your ID, you can pull in the type, you can pull in any of the keys that come with it, because they are saved in a place, so you can always retrieve those data however you want. So yeah, I think that is all of the questions we have for today. If you have any other questions, you can ask them. Otherwise, that will be it for today. And once I finish this live stream, I'll try my best to record a proper video. Once I can test out that user meta field and see why it's not working, then I'll record a proper video about the user meta field, as well as some other videos. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all for joining in today. It has been fun, and the poll, I think from what I can see, most people prefer to use ACF and Jet Engine. I guess MetaBox was not that much. ACPT wasn't that much as well. Yeah. So I guess most of my videos will now be tailored toward either Jet Engine or ACF for now, based on the poll that I'm seeing, unless something changes. But yeah, based on the poll, 55% say ACF, MetaBox 5%, Jet Engine 35%, and then ACPT 5% as well. So that's how my videos are going to also work. They'll be mostly focused on ACF, Jet Engine, then MetaBox and ACPT. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.